Hi guys!
Hi!
It's Alisha.
And Isabel.
Welcome back to Car Conversations, episode... I don't know.
The second to last
Second to
episode
last, don't
of
worry.
the series.
You have us for a little bit longer. What are we talking about today?
I think we are talking about our careers.
Yep.
And
Scary
what we love
topic.
to do.
Yeah, I think we thought it would be nice to chat about what we do in a bit more detail, maybe some struggles and maybe some advice, because we're both trying to step up and be successful. So we thought maybe some people will want advice. If you don't, then oh well.
You're getting it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's also interesting for us as well because we're in the creative sphere, which can be sometimes a little bit different for women or people of colour. So it might be an interesting topic if you're trying to get into a creative field or a creative industry.
Yeah.
So yeah. Where do we even begin?
Well,
maybe from the beginning what did we first like to do?
You know that effect. That's
Yeah.
How it all began. Maybe we can I don't know, what did you want to be when you were younger? That's cool actually as well. What did you want to be and how different is that to now?
True. Okay. I went through lots of different phases.
Okay.
First I wanted to be an artist, and low-key that kind of did end up happening a little bit. But I love to draw, I love to colour, I love to paint, anything arty, that was my bag.
When we were in school, those when you do a header and if you guys are as old as us, when you do bubble writing for the for headers, so it was all cool. She was the girl that we all went to. We were Isabel, can you draw headers? Actually, to be fair, I was
pretty good.
Yeah, because obviously I like the arts as well, but you were just on another level.
So I didn't even know this was a talent that I possessed, but people just came to me wanting.
Can you do the header
names.
for my maths book?
Can you write my name in bubble writing on the top?
Yeah, bubble writing was it. And it was that, and that S that you write, the 3 lines, and then you connect
the Superman
them.
S, yeah. And I remember on all of the bubble writing A's, there'd be a little halo.
Oh, was
and
it?
Wings, yeah. It was such a staple.
Oh, A for angel, I see.
If I find a good picture, I'll put it
how
on. Girls used to do it over here.
Yeah, so she was that girl.
Yeah, and I loved everything. Honestly, anything creative. I loved music, I loved singing, I loved drama. Drama was so fun. So anything arty. Basically just anything creative. And then I ended up wanting to change that career to... I started playing Minecraft, so I was introduced to Minecraft. I know, lame, but it was so good, and I wanted to be an architect after that because I just loved going on creative mode and making my own house, and interior design became something that maybe cool. I was thinking about doing. And then later on, my mum was sort of... I felt a little bit pressured maybe to get in quotes realistic job. And then I think my cousin became a dentist, and I was I could look at dentistry because I don't mind teeth or mouths. I know some people get really grossed out with that, but I'm cool with that. So I was I could do that. And then I thought, okay, maybe I can become a child psychologist because I've always being with children. So we're doing this. This is over years, by the way, and it's different, just ever changing. There was never one thing that really stuck out to me. All I knew was that I liked being creative, and that's it. And then by the time I was okay, maybe child psychologist, I was trying to get really good grades in psychology, which didn't happen. And
I'm sure they weren't that bad. I don't know what they are, so I don't know if that was
I mean, yeah, it wasn't so bad. I think I got a B at the end of my A levels, which is not bad. But yeah, I think I just ended up doing media because I loved doing media at school. I actually ended up redoing a grade so that I could take media because they were only offering GCSE media to the year below, and I really, really, really wanted to do it, so I ended up doing that. And then I just kept realizing that I
like this kind of.
I was I find it so easy and so much more like I had such an affinity to it compared to like I was like spending hours doing psychology and just getting nowhere. And I was like, I was gonna end up doing psychology at uni, and I was like, why am I kidding myself over something that I'm finding so difficult and I don't even really love as much as something else I'm doing. And so I ended up doing media, and so that's how the creative journey started. What about you?
I was also like really creative when I was younger. I don't think I realized it until like looking back when you reflect on like how you were as a kid. But my dad's like super creative as well, and like
is he?
Yeah.
Aww. I didn't know that.
He likes to draw a lot. He's the one who got me into drawing.
Oh really?
Because he's really good at drawing.
That.
Yeah. I think it's just like one of those like ADHD kid things, like where you're like not good in in some academic subjects, and then you're really good at other things.
I feel that.
But yeah, like I just wasn't as good. I don't know. My brain just doesn't click with
Maths.
Yeah, maths
Same.
and sciences, and like it's really upsetting because I really, really want it to. And I like if ever like I remember like in GCSEs when I finally clicked to getting like the fractions and I understood it, and I literally felt so proud of myself. But
it's that release. You're like,
honestly,
oh my god,
I get it.
I get what everyone's doing. Yeah.
But it took a lot. But like when I was really, really young, like in the same like I was good at school when you know like really young. I mean like learning reading and writing. But I was always creative, and then when I grew up a little bit, like my nan always used to joke and be like, "Oh, are you gonna be a doctor or a nurse and like help me get better?" Because she always used like like when they're old, like they have like problem with their knee or whatever, and I'd be like, "Yeah, like I want to help" and stuff like that.
Aww.
So I think there was a small period where like when I was like very young, where if someone was to ask me, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna like help people."
That's so sweet.
But I'm kind of scared of needles and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really work. Like if I can avoid getting a blood test, I will avoid it. I think I've only had 2 in my life, and that was like I literally couldn't avoid it.
Really?
Yeah, but I literally hate it so much. Like even the thought of it, like someone showing their wrist to me where I can see the vein, don't like it. So I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to be a doctor because I can't even put an injection in. So that's like difficult. So yeah, that wasn't gonna work. But then growing up, my dad was super creative, so he started to like draw, and then I started to draw, and then I realized I was like, everyone's like, yeah, you're really good, and like I feel like you never know when you're a kid if someone says if you're good, if you are actually good.
They're just being nice.
But I enjoyed it, so I carried on, and then like I was like, you know what, you're actually not that bad. And I got like loads of like drawing books to. Like people got me drawing books like for Christmas or like gifts or stuff like that. So yeah, I loved doing that, and I have like like when you go on holiday and stuff, like what activity you take on the plane, like I would take my sketchbook.
Yeah, me too.
So that was that, and I had like all my pencils, and I kind of understood what the different pencils are for. So yeah, it was like I was very much into my art. And that kind of, and I actually thought I was gonna be an artist as well. I was like, I'm gonna be an artist. And then I did my GCSEs, and I think I got an A or something. It was a pretty decent grade to get into A levels. And I did that, and then I was like, I kind of noticed that I was good, but I don't know, sometimes with art like you compare a lot, and I was like, I don't think I'm as good as other people, even though it's very subjective and like everyone's art style is very different. I was just like, I don't know. And also, I feel like if I draw something, it has to be I have to copy something. I can't always think of something myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, is that what a true artist is? Like, they should be able to, like, draw something of their own accord, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't. So I was like, maybe it's not for me. But after A-levels, the UK has, like, a free art foundation course, and if you take it straight after your A-levels, it's like for free because you're like 18 or something like that. So I was like, well, I'm going to do that because it's literally a free course, and it's an extra qualification. But around the same time for my A-levels, I was also doing media, and I realized I really liked media and film. So And I was like, I can kind of like, it can kind of like creatively cross over into that like world. It's not drawing, but it is like a creative crossover, I would say, because media is also a creative subject, depending on what you do. Yeah, and then it kind of like last minute, I was like either choosing if I study art or if I try to study film at uni. And I don't know, like I really found really good friends in my media class. So maybe that was a big push, because like when I was at school, I was struggling a lot with friends, and then in A levels, like I would like have such a good media class. Like we would spend lunch in the media room and like watch Game of Thrones like for lunch, rather than like, it was just so fun. So I think I had a really positive association with it. So I did my art foundation, but I applied and deferred for film. And then I kind of said to myself, within the year of doing art, if I feel like I want to do this, and you can just like reapply to an art school.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry on. But it was good to kind of have my place already the year after. But yeah, I finished it and I really enjoyed it, but I was like, I don't know if I'm good enough for this to make me money. To be honest, I was like, I don't know. So I was like, let me do my film degree, and again, if I still really am like, this isn't for me, at least I have an art foundation, which is an extra like diploma. But I ended up really liking film and like producing, so that's what I'm doing. But there is still crossovers. There's still like in the film world, like you still have the art department and stuff like that. It's not drawing per se, but it's still a creative department. And production, what I'm in, is not necessarily creative, but I'm also, if you guys know from the previous episodes, like I'm very like logistical and like planning a lot, so it also works for me in that sense anyway. So but I'm still creative. I haven't drawn in so long, and I feel really sad. Like I need to pick up my pen and draw,
We should do it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you know, like I really want to do sip and paint.
What's sip and paint?
It's like
drinks.
Yeah, it's like this, you can go, it's like an activity where you drink and paint.
Oh, we should do it.
Yeah. It's sick. But yeah, that's like, so I guess I wanted to be a doctor, and then that's not going to work. So here we are now.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it's so sweet listening to what people want to be when they're younger, and they're like, I want to be like an astronaut or something. And like, it's super cool to see that, like, or to hear people's journeys as to whether, like, how much that actually changes and what influences you to change. True. But yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to be when we were younger.
Oh.
And how we got there, basically.
Yeah. My God. Such a long journey.
Yeah. But how was it for you when you told your parents that you wanted to do like something creative? Like, was that a pain, or was it okay?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, they always knew that I had an affinity to those sort of subjects. Like, I was always in like school plays, or I was always like doing like drawing competitions and singing competitions and stuff like that. Like, and like music, I always did like music lessons. Like, they were paying for my music lessons and singing exams and stuff like that. Like, so they knew that I was always doing that in my free time. So it would probably, be something like creative, that. Yeah. I think basically I was going through quite a hard time, like trying to figure out what I wanted to do at uni. And because I thought I was going to do psychology up until like the very last moment, I like suddenly like flipped. Like on the day that I was like looking at UCAS stuff, I was like, I'm actually just gonna call up and see if they have basically like I got my results and I didn't get the course that I wanted in psychology, so I ended up just calling up, you know, like, you know, you can call UCAS, like through, what's it called, clearing.
Clearing.
So I was calling through clearing, like what other courses are there, and then I ended up seeing that they had a free space at Kent for media studies. And I was like, oh. Was the psychology course also at Kent, or was it somewhere else? Like okay, cool. And I was like, but the thing is, they were like, it's weird because I had called them, and then they had told me that they have a space in media, and I was like, oh, I really want to do this. And then I was like umming and ahhing about it a little bit, and then I told my mom, and I was like, I don't know, this just feels right. Like, doing media feels right. I don't want to struggle. Yeah. And my mom was like, don't. Do something that you know that you will like, because you will hate. Like, if you already struggle and, like, don't like what you're doing, at uni it's going to be 10 times worse. Yeah, honestly. So, like, uni is hard as well. Like, it's not completely easy. Like, there are easy aspects of it, I would say, more than A levels. But there are like hard parts about uni. So if you're already struggling, you need something that you actually like, because you're gonna find it hard regardless, like a little bit. So I was like, okay, I'll do media. And my dad was very chill with it, actually. My mum, I knew she would be, but my dad, I was kind of like, oh, I don't want him to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Because like I'm his only child, and his only child is doing an arts course. It's just like, of course.
Especially like Isabel's dad is like a very clever science man.
Yes, true.
Like
true.
such a niche market.
He's super smart. And even my mum, I mean, she did like econ.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, yeah, they're both very clever. But the thing, my mom, I think like you were saying that you get your creativity from your dad.
Yeah.
I think I get it from my mum, because she's so good at art. She's a bit like me as well. Like, she loves interior design, she loves singing, she loves drawing. A lot of her art is in our house, like all of her drawings and stuff. That when she was living in Botswana, we have lots of drawings that she did. And so, yeah, I think she knew that this would be right for me. So I ended up taking a media course, and I really, really enjoyed it. Like you said, I also made like really good friends at uni. I met my partner there. Like, he was doing film, so it's just like I had really good connections, like friends, partners, just like, and my best friend was going there too. It just like, it all just fell into place, and it felt right in my heart. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think they were cool with it, basically.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. My dad's always been like, you do whatever you want kind of thing. Like, he's always encouraged that. And to be fair, my mum, when I was doing my GCSE, like, I remember the day when I was like picking my GCSEs when we were like so young. I was like, why are we picking GCSEs when we're like...
It's actually too young.
It's so young.
You don't know anything.
Honestly. And it's because like, sometimes if you don't pick the right GCSE and you change, like, you can't go into those subjects after. They're like, no, you don't have a GCSE in it.
Yeah.
But I remember her saying on the day, like, well, why don't you pick art as one of them? And I was like, really? Like, you're telling me to pick art? And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, actually, I do want to pick art. So she encouraged me for that. But I don't know if it was to the extent where she knew, like, if I was going to go into it. I think in my mum's heart, she always wanted, like, me and my sisters to do something, like, I think she wanted, like, Trish to go into, like, law, because she thought, like, she was good at arguing.
I can see that, low-key.
Yeah.
I can see her being good at law.
And with me, I'm not really sure, just something, I guess, like, academic, I guess. But I think she also saw our creative side. So in those cases where she like picked, where she helped me and she suggested, even for them to even suggest it as well is like such a big thing, I think.
Yeah.
So she suggested art, and I was like, you know what, it's great. Like, sometimes all you need is them to like affirm to you that like you can do it.
That is so true. That's so true. And then your heart feels like at ease.
Yeah. So that happened. I think when it came to like picking a uni degree, she wasn't expecting it to go that far, and she didn't really want us to do film, especially my sister. Like, literally after she's even picked it and we're like driving, she's like, are you sure you don't want to like change to law?
No way, that's hilarious. That is so your mum.
Yeah. So, and she was there like, no, like, I'm literally driving to my dorm room, like, what's happening? So, but my dad's always been like really, really like, yeah, like, you do what you want, because like my dad's a very much a people person. He's also like not super academic, but he's like street smart, if that makes sense. Like, he's very like a people person. He's a businessman. Like, he can talk to customers, got great customer service, you know what I mean? But like, if you put him in front of a computer, it's a different story. So he's always been like really supportive of that. So yeah, like, I mean, for context, like, it's very common for Asian parents to like not be okay with creative degrees. So if you're going through that, it can vary.
There's like a spectrum. There's like really chill parents that are okay with it, and then there's like the end of the spectrum that's like, you're not doing an arts degree.
Yeah,
like, he doesn't care if you like it. Like, we don't care if you like it. Like, you're doing something.
Yeah, some people do get forced to do things, but also I think some kids are like, they get brainwashed into thinking that like
they want to do it.
Yeah.
The amount of people I know that took law that are not doing law right now, or like thought they needed to be a lawyer because their parents were like, yeah, you would do well in law. But yeah, like
yeah, it can become spiteful. Like, I know someone, like, in the family, like, I can't remember who, but I remember finding out that their parents forced them to do something like law, let's say, and they did it, and they got the degree, and they passed their bar, and then they passed the bar, and they gave, like, the degree to their parents, and they said, here you go, it's for you. I'm not doing it. I'm not working in this. I'm going to do it. I was like, oh, can you imagine doing, but I was like, the dedication to sit for like 4 years of your life at uni and do a degree that you don't even want to do, pass it as well, and then be like, this is for you. Like, imagine the amount of spite that you have for that many years. So just be like, I'm doing this to prove them wrong.
And that's so much time wasted, like, that you could have been exploring the thing that you really want to do. Or, like, exploring things that you like to do.
Or explaining to them that you don't want to do what they're telling you to do.
Yeah. It gets to a point, isn't it? I feel like we talked about this in a previous episode, but, like, if you have parents that are nervous about you wanting to get into a creative career, there'll probably be a time where you have to stand up to them and be like, I mean, ultimately you have to be like, tough shit. Like, you know what I mean? Life. Like, it's my life. I want to explore the things that I'm good at, that I enjoy doing, and finding a career in that. And until I try and do that, and even if you try and fail and then move into something else, it doesn't matter, because all of that time is growth. Yeah.
And I think there's this fear in, I don't know if it's just, I think there must be in more than just, like, the Asian community, but there's this fear of, like, if you fail, it's not good. Yeah. Like, if you go into it and you were wrong, then it's like a I told you so situation. But it's like, why like can't, like,
humiliating.
Like, honestly, I'm like, we're all living life. Like, why can't we try? Because what if you don't fail? Then what?
Also, if
and what if you fail in the subject that you're telling me that you want me to go into? Like, what if, you know what I mean? Like, and then I have to live with that my whole life. Like, at least I can live with something that I've tried that I wanted to do, and then know that I've tried for myself. You know?
And I was gonna say also, like, it sucks as well. I mean, luckily we have quite accepting parents. That they're cool with it now, at least. But, like, your parents should be the people that you can come home to when you're humiliated or, like, upset, or if something didn't work out. They shouldn't be the ones saying, I told you so. They should be the ones saying, it's fine, you did your best.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of brown parents are the I told you so kind of parents, which is just, like, not fair.
Yeah.
And they kind of, like, don't see success in certain careers, and they only see it in others, even though success is just, like, so different to everyone, because someone's success must look so different to, like, someone who's, like, already 10 steps ahead of that person's, you know what I mean?
Also, you can be successful and unhappy. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You can have, like, you can be earning money but literally be, like, in the worst situation of your life, compared to, like, if you had, like, a lower salary but you had, like, great friends around you, a great partner, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's situation is different, but
it's also, like,
parents
what you
don't always
want.
see that.
Yeah, like, someone might not be happy unless they have a lot more money, so that's where their happiness comes from, because maybe they've struggled a lot from when they were younger, so for them, like, not having the money is a real problem.
Oh no, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, that makes sense.
But, like,
I mean,
but for others, they might have had all the money or not, and they might be really happy to do a job where this is a low salary, but they're really happy, and they don't have, like, crazy, like, deliverables or something like that where they're, like, working into, like, super late in the night, you know what I mean? Like, everything's so subjective.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there are still times where, like, my mum, when she's in moments of frustration, where she can still say things like, oh, well, you know, if you were working in a blah, blah, or if you did a different career, it would be easier to find a job, or, like, you know, like, little
That's just such a pointless comment.
Yeah, it's not even constructive. It's just a comment that just she would say, like, out of, like, anger to, like, hurt me.
Yeah.
And I think, because, like, I feel like in every industry right now, like, more or less, it's quite hard to find jobs. Like, the job market's a bit
it's crazy
right now. So it doesn't matter. You could be a lawyer, you could be literally an artist, and I feel like it's still hard to, like, get a position that you want right now. At least for, like, entry-level jobs, graduate jobs. Like, it's hard out here.
Yeah, I guess, like, that, like, leading on to, like, career now, it's so hard.
It's so hard.
Even when you have a degree, it's, like, hard. When you have experience, it's hard. I'm still even figuring out if I'm on the exact path I want to be. and I'm like, and I put pressure on myself, where I give myself my own deadline, and I'm like, you need to make sure you know what you want to do by like XYZ time. And then I kind of like recently, if I've stepped back and said like, if I was like, obviously to a certain point, but if I was like this much older and I wanted to like completely change what I want to do, why should anyone stop me? Obviously at that age, if I was have other responsibilities, then you still have to consider a lot more things, but you can't just stop and drop everything if you have to pay for the house and stuff like that. But like, why can't you just change what you want to do? I think there's this like societal pressure that like, because before like a lot of like my parents, like my mom stayed in her job for like 40 years or something, and like they don't understand the concept of like jumping jobs. Like it's very new to them. But like I think this new age of people that are in the workforce now are like, if you're not going to give me what I want, then I'm go somewhere else.
Yeah, literally. I kind of like it though, because it's like, F this, like I'm gonna get what I want to work in a place where I'm happy. You know what I mean?
And I think from recent conversations, I think employers think that they hold a lot of like of the say, and then they think that like, oh, we'll say this and then you'll just do whatever we say. And now like, you know, like I was saying, like a lot of people are like, no, and it's like, oh oh shit, like that's not how it works anymore. Like we'll just find somewhere else then.
And then they're scrambling to find someone else.
It's like, whereas before it was a lot like they hold a lot of the power, and I think it's not completely reversed, but I think it's changed a lot recently. And because I think people are also trying to find like especially after COVID, like a lot of people want a better work-life balance. They've realized that they do. Some people realize that they want to be in the office more. Some people realize that they don't want to. The whole world has realized that we can work from home. A lot of people can, not everyone. And the world still turns.
Literally.
Like it still goes around.
It can still work.
Yep. And you can just live a better like quality of life, to be honest.
I was going to say also like another hard thing about being in a creative industry is like, obviously a degree is not always necessary, but it's great. Like a degree is fine. But ultimately experience is like, having experience is one of the most important things. Like it can, regardless of like what creative industry, I feel like usually experience is appreciated. And is valued. So like if you have like less experience, it's really hard for you to get somewhere. But ultimately, if you're not given experience as well, then like it's just like an endless cycle of like not having experience, looking for experience, they want experience, you're not getting any experience, and then therefore the cycle continues. So you ultimately have to do your own projects and make your own stuff, and it's really hard to do that, balancing a life, balancing a social life, balancing a relationship, and then also like we have, like you were saying, how we set ourselves these like targets,
like our own
pressuring
internal
deadlines. We also have like social media where like, and you were saying before as well, like how in creative subjects it's like really easy to compare yourself to other people. I have like done this a lot in the past, where I'm looking at what people are doing on social media and like how far they are, and then I just feel really behind. And it's like, oh, so and so's done this by 22 or 25 or whatever the age, and it's like, how am I so behind already? We're not behind. Everyone's path is different. Everyone's journey looks different. Like sometimes people are set back because they're not meant to do something because it's making space for another opportunity to come by. Like it's just like everyone's path is different, and it's really hard to like come to terms with that when you're looking at other people's success. Like, or I think, you know what I mean?
I think it's really like, I think it's important to set goals. Obviously, if they're unrealistic, it's different. I like, that's maybe just my opinion. I do like the idea of goals because there's progression and growth, and if you don't set one, then there's nothing to work towards. But the comparing is like the problem, because your goal when I reach 30, I'm gonna want XYZ things, might be completely different to your goals when you reach 30. My goals when I reach 30 might be yours when you reach 27. And then if I'm like, oh, but she's 27 and she's like already got it, I'm gonna like put myself down when that wasn't really where I was supposed to be by that age anyway. You know what I mean? Like I think the comparison is like the part that can like really affect people and like put us down.
Setting goals that you want to achieve at your own time is always good. Like, obviously it doesn't have to be like you're setting a goal like way into the future and then it just feels unattainable. Like, you can set a goal and be like, by the end of the year I want to try this, I want to do this opportunity, I want to put myself out there more, and they are attainable goals. But you don't have to put like a deadline and be like, in a way where you're giving yourself grief for not reaching it. Because if you're like, if you wanted to do something and then something didn't pull through by the end of the year and you're like, well, I suck then. You know, like, that's just not healthy and that's just not how the world works. Ultimately, like, you just have to try your best and set yourself goals that you know can happen and in your own time, on your own journey. Another thing is like networking. At uni, I hated the idea of networking. I hated LinkedIn, when I catch you, LinkedIn, like...
When I catch you, Ricky.
Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. Like, LinkedIn, when I catch you, LinkedIn. Like, oh my God. When I was at uni, I hated LinkedIn. If I was at that point where I was like, if I see another person say, I'm happy to announce that, I'm happy to share that, I will kill you. Like, I hate you. But, like... It's not that. It's not a bad thing. Like, I am happy for everyone's success. It's just that it feels really tough when you're behind, like, to see that. And also, like, it just felt very hard. As someone, like, I don't like putting myself out there. I feel like when I'm with you, I feel extroverted. Or when I'm with friends, I'm extroverted. But ultimately, I'm an introvert. So, like, having to put myself out there and try and talk to people, even in the same field as me, it just felt very daunting. But you have to. You literally have to. Like, whether it's like attending events online or like in person, making, you know what I mean? Like, reaching out to people online, sending them a message being like, hey, I love your work. Like, would you ever want to, you know what I mean? Like, even if it's not to get something in return, just to talk. Like, having conversations is the first step, and I feel like it's so important to do that, but it's so difficult. You have to get over that fear of like, what if they think I'm weird? What if they think, you know, like, what if they find me annoying?
Because that's like, not how like the world works. Like, in the working world, you have to talk to people. So there's like, unless you have like a remote job that's like really niche that you don't really need to speak to many people, like, you're really gonna struggle, and that's like a harsh reality. You do kind of have to just like tough it out and just be a bit of an adult, as they say. I was thinking like one thing that I wish LinkedIn had the button of like report job because they do have like a report job if it's got like false advertising or something like that. But I wish it had it for like over, like, you know when they're like, oh yeah, entry level, and then it's like required like 3 years experience, and I just want to report it for just being like false advertisement or something, because I'm like, really?
Sometimes it will literally be like, like you said, entry level like job, experience 2 years, portfolio of like this and this. I'm like, sorry? What do you mean? What do you actually mean? Entry level where? Like, it pisses me off. It really pisses me off, because it makes people feel like absolute trash about themselves.
There's a difference between entry level and then if you're needing 2 years of experience, that's like perhaps like an assist job or something, like, or a junior job. Completely different to an entry level job. An entry level job requires a degree, or like literally that's the first thing. That's the whole point of it being an entry.
I was gonna say, if I see an entry level with more than 1 year's experience required, you're on my bad list. Even at 1 year is pushing it, because it's like they're at uni or they're at like a college. Like, what do you mean? Unless you have to be doing your own thing for that year. Then, like,
mine's like, so like sometimes if I'm looking at like producer jobs, it'll be like production, like, or producer like required, and it will be for this company, and they're like requirements like has experience with Adobe and Premiere Pro and filming and editing and scheduling and organizing. And I'm like, okay, so you're looking for a videographer not a producer that films. You're like, producers don't film the content for you.
Yeah, they don't get that. Even with social
don't
media
get it.
manager, they get annoyed. They're like, we need someone to plan and to post. I'm like,
No, you need a
that's not-
videographer to video and edit your content. I can plan it and schedule it for you. That's what a producer does. Why are you requiring a producer to film this for you? And then it's like proficient in Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects. And I'm like, so you're going to pay me a 25k salary, an entry-level salary, to do everything for you and film for you, like, and then you want 2 years of experience?
Shut up.
Like, what do you mean? You want me to do everything? This is an entry-level position. I'm not entry-level, but like, this is ones that I've seen. And your base salary is like so low. Anyway, that's just me. That's just me ranting.
It's
like,
true,
that's
though.
like a different. I'm like, what are your requirements here? This is completely not what. And there's no button on LinkedIn that you can report it for, like, essentially being like just falsely advertised and like stupidly advertised job. But yeah,
But, I mean, ultimately that is a thing. Like, LinkedIn, well, not on LinkedIn, but just on lots of like job boards, there are jobs where they're just requiring so much experience for such little pay and for entry level working.
Yeah, and it's just not fair.
And it's really not fair.
And they don't have a choice where they have to apply. And it's like, no, this is so unfair. Like, that's not what your job is. And if you want me to do that as the job, then you need to change the title of what you're advertising for and at least increase the pay to a normal amount for someone to live off of doing absolutely everything. Like, what?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's unfair. And like entry level, like people that are trying to get into like the working world, like they have no choice but to try to apply to this. Otherwise, then they don't get any experience to get anything, and it's just like super unfair.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's like a little bit of a tangent of a topic, but
I mean, it's
look out for it,
related.
because I don't think you should. I think those kinds of companies that are like what are you
Please
wanting?
look out for it and be careful.
Don't apply for that. Like, unless you are comfortable and you are happy to do all those things. But like, I think it's really
just be
good.
wary, I would say. Yeah.
I think it's really good to know what your role is and what you do, so that when you're looking at what a requirement for a job is, if it's got something there that, like, maybe there's something new for the specific type of business that is related to what you do, but me to film is not. That's just very different to, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's good for you to know what your role does, so that people can't ask you to do other things. If they ask and you say yes, I can do it, completely different. That's on you now, because you've said you can do it. So yeah, just know what you do as a someone in the workforce. But yeah. Cool. I don't know if is there any more advice?
I would say another one is just like like, again, with networking, just trying to do your own projects.
Yeah.
Like, when you can't get experience, like, your phone and like making friends is like your best thing to do at that time. Trying to find like-minded people like you online, in your course, I don't know, like anywhere, literally advertise it anywhere. You can do your own projects depending on what you want to do. If you want to do filming, you should try and do your own short film. If you want to do social media, like, you know, make a fake account, show examples of what you can do, like make videos online, make TikToks, you know what I mean? Like,
not a fake account, just another account, right?
Oh yeah, sorry. Not a fake account.
Like,
I would say, like,
we're not gonna stalk people.
Yeah, no. I just mean, instead of fake, like, yeah, make another account that you can showcase your work on.
A lot of places do need that as well, because it's like a portfolio, and now because social media is such a big thing.
Yeah.
I guess, like, it's hard for us to give advice for non-academic subjects.
True. Yeah.
I guess we can give advice if your family are pressuring you, then, like, you know, all those things that we said before, like, you do kind of have to take a stand. I think if you're someone who does take that is in the academic world, something that I've noticed, and it's not for everyone, but like, I feel like there's sometimes a lot of judgment to people doing creative careers, and it's not seen as like as successful or as like clever.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really cool for you to actually know what your friends do or what your family does, because being creative is extremely hard, because it is all subjective. Like, there's not like a right answer to an equation. So yeah, I guess don't look down on other friends. I know some creative people look down on others that do academic subjects. Don't. I'm jealous.
It goes both
I wish I could do that, but like, yeah, because I feel like we both had people in our lives that like look at what we do, and they're like, oh yeah, like, oh, you're just doing that. Like I'm going to work and I'm doing X, Y, Z, and I'm like, oh, so you think I'm just sat here like,
yeah, no, they're
dilly-dallying on my like computer? Like, you think that's what I'm doing, like going to work?
I was gonna say, like, yeah, we've met people, like, we have friends, well, not well friends, but just, yeah, we've met people in our lives that have definitely said things like, oh, what do you do again? Like, I can't remember. Oh, it's like, you just do that, right? Like, very
and it's like, oh, like, I do this, and I work on this, and I work on this, and I'm like...
Also, they think, like, oh, because you chose a creative degree, oh, like, you're so lucky, it must be just so much easier.
Yeah, this is us laughing in disbelief. Yeah.
What an odd thing to say.
What an odd thing. Like, what?
You know that trend?
Oh, let me just work on the film set for 12 hours for my day, and like, it's so easy.
It's just, yeah. I think it just...
It's just like the lack of understanding of what you do. Like, sometimes I've explained that, like, I work within like film and video and TV, but as a producer, it's not too creative. It is all logistical. And when I've said that, like, oh, you do like logistics and like planning and like budgeting, like, yeah, I do budgets and quotes, and that is obviously like a little bit of maths and money, and I plan things and I schedule things and I book locations and I book crew, and like, and they're like, oh, it's logistics, that's what you do? I'm like, this just shows that you just haven't given any interest to even ask me what I do, because you just assume, you know what I mean? Like, oh gosh. Even like what my sister does, like, she works on the film set, but like there's a lot of like so much technical stuff that goes on behind the camera. It's not just press record. Like, what? Otherwise everyone will be able to go make films.
I think, yeah, they just minimize it. Like, also, she does like a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think people just think we're like twiddling our thumbs, like,
yeah,
doing
like,
a little
we'll
art
just do this, yeah.
subject. Yeah, it's so fun. No. Yeah. And also, like, especially like, obviously I'm thinking about possibly trying to get into acting a little bit.
Yeah.
Whether that happens, that's another thing. But right now, in the moment of my life, that is something that I'm finding fun. And it's like, it's really hard. It's hard to get into acting. It's a saturated field. Like, opportunities are scarce unless you know people. Like, it's all about who you know, and, you know,
unfortunately.
People, yeah. And then people also look at that being like, oh, interesting, like, okay, so you just, I don't know, people, if I'm networking with people, if I meet new people, there are often times where, when it comes to my turn to talk about what I do, everyone's just like, oh, okay, anyway, like, just very dismissive, like, we don't really know what to say about this, so, yeah.
Yeah, I think there just needs to be, like, a little bit of understanding, and just like listen to people. Like, I want to listen to what you're doing if you're studying law or you're working in law, or in the doctor's, like, at a hospital. Yeah. If you're a nurse, like, it's cool. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh well.
Yeah. I could easily be like, boring. Yeah, but like, no.
Imagine
if someone said, oh, I do law. Okay, sneeze first. Next. I could be mean, but no. Like, sometimes it is interesting, and I want to hear what people have to say about themselves, what they're passionate about. So it should go both ways.
Yeah. But I guess that's, like, again, a little bit of a side note on that.
Yeah.
Well, let us know if you guys want to hear more about career advice and things like that. But it's also important to, like, keep your hobbies up, because sometimes your hobbies can't become your career. Sometimes they can.
So true. I do illustration, and for the longest time it was just drawing and stuff was something that I just did in my free time. But then I got into, you know, using like Procreate and Illustrator and stuff, and then I did commissions for people, and it's really fun to do commissions for people. But when I'm stressed and I have lots of commissions to do, it's tough. And it makes me not want to draw, which is the opposite of what I want to do, because drawing is something I love to do. So when it starts to become like, oh my god, I'm hating this, like, I don't want to look at my iPad, like, that's when I know it's a problem. So like Alisha said, make sure you continue your hobbies, like, You don't have to profit off of all your hobbies. Some of your hobbies can just stay your hobby.
Yeah.
That's fine. You don't
Sometimes
have
it's
to be.
best.
You don't have to monetize your hobbies, like every
Yeah.
single one of your hobbies. It's okay. It's okay to just spend time doing
actually
something
just
that doesn't
enjoy
make you
it.
money. Like,
Yeah.
it's so cool. But I feel like as a generation, we've started being like, oh my god, I like to crochet in my free time. Let me set up an Etsy shop, because you can do that. That's cool. But you also don't have to. You can
Yeah.
just crochet in your
I guess
free
do
time.
whatever. Like something
what I
that I've
mean?
learned recently is to really try to focus on what you want now,
Mhm.
because I'm like a worrier,
Mm.
and I worry about like, oh, what about this and what about this in the future and what about this, and like like at the end of the day, I'm like, I literally cannot control what I'm going to be doing next year. Like, you can control things to a point, obviously you can put in steps into play, but like I think you should also focus on what is best for you now. Like, what is going to be good for me now, not what's going to be good for me in 10 years, because I'm not 10 years down the line yet. Anyway, that's our roundabout way of being like, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. And
It's fun out here.
I was gonna say, if there's anyone watching that is a person of color or not, but that wants to do something in the creative field, then what if you want to do something in the creative field, and you may have people that are not supportive of you, like your parents or family or friends, just know we're proud of you and that you can do it. It's hard, but you can do it. Like, you got this. Just do your best. Keep doing all your hobbies. Create experience for yourself. You got this. If you enjoyed watching this episode of this podcast or listening, thank you, audio listeners. We love you. Please like and subscribe. Click the like button down below. Share with your friends and all of your other creative besties. Yeah, check us out on socials. We have a TikTok and an Instagram. And the TikToks are popping right now, so give them a like and a view. Also, if you're listening on Spotify, please rate 5 stars, because the ratings mean a lot. So thank you. And we'll see you
on the last one.
Bye.